So we have been doing the Mangala Sutta. So the Mangala Sutta actually was asked by the celestial being to the Buddha, asking about what are the highest blessings or the highest protection. So here are some of the answer of the Buddha. He introduced this sutta or this course in divided into 10 groups. Okay. So we have been going through group 1 through group 7, I believe. But I'm going to kind of review a little bit of group 7, group 6, group 6, group 7. Okay. Now, going back just a little bit, one more slide. Group 6, at the beginning for group 1, we have to set the goal, and then we need some foundation before we can progress. And then we started to train ourselves action-wise. Now, that action involving the physical action and the verbal action. Then after that, we start to contribute to the society. Then group number, am I going backward? Okay. Group number 7, we start the journey of our spiritual progress. So start with, we have to train ourselves to be respectful. Respectful, not only to our parents, our teachers, but to all people that helped us, even to people, within in our same generation or to our next generation. Respectful to them, not necessary that, in a rise and ritual way, but, mentally, just be patient. Like if our daughter or son or kids talk to us, then at least, we respect them with listening, right? Not immediately. This is a very Asian action saying that, hey, I'm the mother, okay? You better behave. You better obey. You better, listen and follow what my instruction. It's not that kind of, try to avoid that kind of attitude, okay? Just pay attention to what they say. Maybe we can learn something from them, even though, we have the experience. But, respectfulness. Now here, respectfulness refer to a reverence, especially to our spiritual teachers. Okay. No judgment. Make sure that every single being, including ourselves, we got something to learn from them, big or small. Okay. Then the next step is to be humble, not just by language, not just by intellectual, but humble in a way to reduce our arrogance, reduce our pride, reduce our ego. Okay, in this way, we'll be able to learn something. It's just like a cup of water. If the cup is totally full, then it cannot contain, or it cannot, we cannot put anything into it anymore. So humble, it's not just by surface, okay? Then contentment. Now, there are 2 phrases in this number 24, containment, I really would like to share with you. First one is, ni can easily be satisfied, but greed is insatisfiable. Okay? What we need, basic necessity, is so easy to satisfy. It's just like if we eat the meal, if we don't want to get hungry, that's easy, but we crave, then it's not easy to be satisfied. We eat something that is delicious, and then we'll be craving for more and more and more. Okay? So need can easily be satisfied to fulfill, but greed is not. And then the other one is the last one who knows that enough is enough, always have enough. Okay, so that is contentment. This actually help us to reduce the craving craving. Of course, the other side of craving is aversion. Craving and getting into clinging or attachment eventually if we crave too much. So that's group number 7, the first set. Then gratitude. Now, gratitude, again, all these, why they are saying that it's spiritual progress. It's because this related to our mind training. It's not just by saying, not just by language. So gratitude comes from the bottom of the heart, okay? So if someone help us, no matter how small the help is, we have to be thankful. A smile in the morning, a thank you, small things like that would be showing our gratitude. But it has to be from, we genuinely, not just superficially. So, and then the reason the Buddha said that, because being a person, being a sentient being, to survive, we just cannot survive on our own. Okay? Somebody you don't think is related to you. For example, when we drive down the street, we see farmlands, people are growing corn, people are, raising animals. We might not think it's not related to me, but their effort, like, their produces, one day, we don't know, it's going to put on our, dining table or lunch table, right? And then think about the way when we drive in, how about the road paved by those workers? Okay? Architects, they designed it. Traffic lights, all those are protecting and make our life in a very easy to live on. All these small things, they are, we are actually depending on them. Okay, it might seem they are not. They are nothing to do with us. They didn't, give us money or, supply us on any way. But one way or the other, we do depend on each other closely. So gratitude, very important. Then hearing the Dhamma frequently taught again, going back, this is the spiritual progress. So having our daily life, our material life, all set, then we're ready to go a little bit more deeper and penetrate into our spiritual life. Okay. So the Buddha said that there are two conditions for the arising of a right view. Of course, we have to know what are the right view first. And we'll talk about the right view, in another talk when we talk about the Noble Eightfold Path. So systematic attention and hearing the utterance of the others, mainly the teaching of the Buddha. So when we listen to that, and listening is, of course, the first step, then we'll be able to at least, not totally eradicate, but at least reduce the hindrances. We'll go over what are the hindrances. So be respectful, be humble, be content, and then gratitude, listening to the Dhamma frequently. These are our highest blessing and protection. So this is group number 7. Then group number 8, still with the spiritual progress, patience. Patience, I don't know if you're familiar with the parami or paramitas. If not, initially just Google it. They have very good answer. Now, when you Google it, they have AI answering the question. So very convenient. So it's the third paramita. Paramitas are actually fulfillments, the ways that, or tools or methods, whatever you name it, to get us across the river of suffering to the other shores. I think I mentioned this before, that the paramitas are just like the jars. I mentioned that before, right? So each jar, we put a little drop in there, and eventually it'll fold up. And then we'll be able to get across the river or the ocean of samsara, of birth and death. So the patience is like somebody was saying something that I don't like to hear. And I experienced that before. And, as a human being, I reacted, okay? But then, with the training, eventually, if somebody says something that I don't like, I might get angry. Before training, I might get angry for 2 weeks, okay? And sometimes I'll say, I will forget this forever. Then you suffer forever. I'm so sorry, okay? Because when anger arises, you check yourself, the heartbeat goes faster, the temperature rises, and you got so agitated, okay? We cannot sleep, we cannot eat, probably pacing around, and then in the mind, the unwholesome thought will arise, say, when do I have the chance to revenge? And those kind of thoughts occupying our consciousness, then we become restless, we become sad, we become regretful. All these negativities arises in the mind. So be patient, tolerate. Words are just words. So don't identify ourselves with those words. So one example, one time I was teaching in Chicago, and 2 students fight. So the fighting was, sometimes we fight and then we forgot who we're fighting. We just fight for fight, right? So in that occasion is like one student A say to B that you borrowed my book and you didn't ask me for my permission, and you gave this book to so and so, and you don't remember this is actually my book. So when are you going to return my book? So that was the argument. And all of a sudden they realized that the teacher was sitting there. So they look at me looking for a solution. So I said, it's a very easy fix. Just change the I and mine to the book, detached from the I and mine. So you took the book and you lend it to somebody. That's it. And it's a book. And somebody's reading it, benefiting somebody. Problem resolved. So don't identify ourselves with the external object, which are changing constantly. Okay. So that's one way. So be very patient with the others. Be very patient to yourself also. Sometimes, we have this like self, what do you call it? Like hitting ourselves too intense or high expectation, step by step. Okay, we have to take step by step and be kind to yourself. A person cannot be kind or compassionate to themselves, cannot be compassionate to others. Now, being that said, I don't mean that we have to make excuses for our anger or whatever. When anger arises, when negativity arises, find a way to resolve it. Make the hardened heart soft. Okay. And then willingness to accept one's fault. Now, it's very difficult. I fail a lot of times, What do you mean I'm at fault? I'm wrong? Definitely not. I'm definitely right. Okay, accept one's fault. And then accept one's fault doesn't mean that we have to be regretful. Okay, we accept what we did and it's a mistake, and we make a repentance and we make a correction and we make a vow, at least make a vow not to do it again, not to make the same mistake again. If we fall down on the spot, we know how to avoid not to walk into that hole again, right? Okay, same thing. If we fall down, we don't want to fall the second time at the same place. So make sure we avoid those mistakes that we make. And then the next one would be seeing venerated seekers of the truth. Now, this refers back to number one, associate with the wise. So we know, we have to find out what does it mean by wise. I'm not going to go back again, it's number one. So associate, meaning that we are not only seeing them and say hi and then bye, not that. We go there, we actually humbly learn from them. If possible, stay with them for a while, and then supporting. Okay, support, you know, the seekers of the truth. Now, the venerables here, master, our spiritual teacher, those are people that actually seeking for spiritual advances. So we try to associate and support them as much as possible. And then sharing often the words of Dhamma. Now, this refers to group study, group practice. So you make the right choice and right decision coming to Maba because we can study and support each other. If we have questions, if we have experience that we can share with each other, that'll be perfect. And that will help us actually take a big step on the path. So those are group number 8. Group number 9, starting to going from the mundane level into a more super mundane level. Okay. So here it says self-restraint. So in the text, it says suppressing. I don't quite like the word of suppressing, meaning that, you force something that you don't like to do. But here, suppressing actually refer to not to react in accordance to our habitual pattern. Okay. Say we come across to external environment that is not desirable or unpleasant. So instead of forcing us to tolerate it, we first stop, put a stop there. Okay. Somebody like say harsh word to me, instead of I just, burst out, I hold it back a little bit. Take a deep breath, one is not enough. Take 3 deep breaths, relax our shoulder, relax our body. And then we start to think about it. Okay, not immediately react. Oh, you say something that I don't like. I'm not that. Of course, I'm not at fault. How can you? Who are you? All these goodies come into the mind. So before we do anything, take a deep breath, hold it back for a little bit. So that is not suppressing. That is not, I have to tolerate this. No, that is not that. Just hold it back for a little bit. And then suppressing involves intentionally holding back. Now, holding back is the word, okay? Stopping the thought instead of going deeper and deeper, getting into the corner of the war. Don't do that, okay? Don't do that. Don't just corner yourself to somewhere that you cannot come back out. Just take a break there. So diligence through restraint, laziness. Now, this one I would recommend we do suppress it here. When we got lazy, hey, come on, get up and walk around. Okay. If we're getting lazy that we don't want to study or doing something, hey, get up. This is the time I would recommend let's suppress, let's pound on the laziness, because laziness is just like a virus. Okay, once we let go of it, we give way for it to grow, then it's just like a weed. Today, I'm gonna lie in bed for today. How about tomorrow? How about the next day? How about next week? Oh, I'll do it next year. So for laziness, I would say, hey, let's put some force to it. And then restrain the negative emotion is the cause of attaining jhana, that including suppressing the laziness. Then ardent effort. What is the ardent effort? Of course, we have the four right effort that we mentioned before, but here it's more intense of the four right efforts. Like we have to become passionate, like learning the Dhamma, try to give rise to interest in it. Something that is not fun to do, that probably we won't continue. Okay, like you guys continue to come to Maba, so you must like it to come, or else you will go to the winery next door. So, um, so here, just if not 100% commitment, at least start with 30%, 50%, and then gradually give rise. And then the next one with living a holy life. Again, this is a super mundane level that we were talking about. The holy life, the Buddha mentioned it. I think it's four types of people. Some people renounce bodily but not mentally. Somebody renounce both bodily and mentally. Somebody renounce mentally but not bodily. Somebody do not renounce neither mentally or bodily. All type of people. So, and then we'll talk about that. If we're still in the mundane level of living, what can we do? And then seeing the Four Noble Truths, seeing, not just using the eyes. Eye is one of them, but seeing is actually meaning experiencing it, okay? Experiencing suffering, experiencing the cause of suffering, experiencing or practice the Eightfold Noble Path, and then eventually experiencing the cessation of all suffering. Okay, so we call this seeing the path, seeing the path. So before that, we need to open our eyes and then open our mind. Okay, before we can practice, our eyes have to be open, our mind has to be open. So in this way, we'll be able to practice the Four Noble Steps. Number one, associate with the wise. Number two, listening to the righteous Dhamma. Number three is what? Investigation, pondering, understanding what the teaching is. And number four, practicing accordingly. Okay, those are the four steps. Keep in mind what those. Then number one, listening, one and two, listening to the Dhamma will be able to give rise to the Suttamaya Panya, developing, the knowledge of from learning. Then we'll be able to go into the next step, Chittamaya Panya. That means with investigation, with understanding, the wisdom of understanding will arise. Eventually, then we will go to the Bhavana Panya, meaning that we will experience, will give rise the wisdom. Okay. Then again, realizing the Nibbana. Here it listed the four steps, like the Sotapanna, like the one returner, like non-returner, and also the Arahasya. Okay. I'm not going to go through that in very detail. So group 9 say what we need to practice to arrive or achieve the transcendence and realization would be self-restraint, living a holy life, seeing the path, which are the Four Noble Truths, attaining and reaching the ultimate goal of Nibbana. So here again, this is the supra-mundane level. But don't worry about that. We'll get to it. We'll reach it. We'll be able to attain it with practice. Again, I'll bring up my PPC. Patiently, persistently, and continuous. Okay. Number 10 is mundane and supra-mundane. So when we begin to practice, a non-practitioner, a non-tamed mind, seeing a mountain is a mountain. With the practice, you seeing the mountain is not the mountain. After we experience it, the mountain is still the mountain. That is a very common saying in the Chan school. So we go through all these steps, then we come to that, even though we're still living, involved in our daily, worldly way, but actually different. Okay. So a practitioner attain the awakening state may still involved in the worldly life before entering the final state of Nibbana. Don't worry about that. We will all get there. And because, all these feathers, all these defilements, vexations are cut off, then we suffer no more. Okay. But then we have, at this point, our mind won't be shaken. There is no more regression. Okay, we keep or whatever, it's just like the money we earn, we put it in the bank, and then we keep them. Okay, unless you take it out and throw it away, or else it's in there. So whatever we practice, whatever we learn, whatever we accumulate, it's going to stay with us. Then at this point, we are secure, okay? Spotless secure. So I would like to mention the 5 hindrances. They are the sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and remorse, skeptical doubt. Okay, all these. Well, if we have a chance, we will go into very much detail about this. So number 10, they who live by following this path know victories wherever they go, and every place for them is safe. So these are the highest blessing and protection. So being safe and attain happiness everywhere. So do you remember all the 10 groups by now? No, don't worry. We have this chart. So if you want a copy of it, feel free to have a copy of it. So I am, really appreciate that you're being so patient and listen to the Mangala Sutta. Of course, there are a lot of different teachers. One of them is Venerable Kai, and he gave a very, very good discourse on the sutta. There are some English teachers too, I believe. So let me know that if you can find someone that can share that. So the Mangala Sutta teaches us how we can ascend to the highest goal in gradual step. It provides many practical guidelines for both lay and monastic followers of the Buddha. Memorize this short discourse and recite it regularly to enjoy many blessings, attaining happiness and to save everywhere. Put our palms together. May all be happy. May all be healthy. May all be peaceful. And may all be beautiful. Thank you all.